Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another podcast. Always go below the surface. And before I go any further, let me give a shout out to one of my supporters, Devon Mitchell, for recommending to a brother some Mucinex. Because y'all remember on some videos, a brother coughing. I'm thinking it's a cold and whatnot, but I was like, it ain't feel like a cold, but I'm not used to having allergies and whatnot. So I was, he suggested Mucinex Clear and Cool, which they should give me a cut for like even mentioning them. Man, I got that joint, man, 1,000 times better. I mean, it still got a little bit to clear up, but I started using that joint. I was like, oh snap. Man, because I was thinking about going to the doctor and whatnot. And, if Ron thinking about going to the doctor, and I mean, they probably would have gave me something, but only problem with the doctor is you go in for one thing, they find about 4 other things because they trying to get some pills because they getting a cut from that pharmaceutical and whatnot, right? That pharmaceutical company. You be going in there just for a cold and stuff. They be like, well, Mr. Wills, your blood pressure's a little elevated. And you'd be like, that's because you trying to get me to take a bunch of pills I don't need. Shit. So anyway, right? Shout out to him. And then shout out to Master Teacher BGS, because I watched a video of his that kind of inspired this one. He was talking about Harry and Mehgan, the real deal. Now, he got into the real deep part of it, because I hadn't really talked about that issue, and I'm not going to really talk about it in this one, just other than a brief mention of, the marriage and everything. And he was right. I agree with his analysis. In fact, I had already saw what the real deal was with that marriage anyway, even when they first got together, because I told people, I said, first of all, that's not a random thing. She got royal blood through her father. They're distant relatives. Like, royals don't marry willy-nilly. It ain't no, like, love story or something. And any woman trying to identify that thing, she gonna get some prints like that. You better do a DNA match and find if you got some royal blood before you'd even think about it, right? I mean, it's a good little fairy tale, and I could break it down in another way, but I don't feel like it. But there was an agenda behind that. Shoot. And check out BGS's video in the link. He breaks it down perfectly. Let's just say they trying to get the band back together. Shoot. They out of Brexit now. They trying to get that Commonwealth back together. But that leads me to the point of all of this. I mean, I'm known as a relationship guy. People see I do business, metaphysics, and all of that. But I actually got money to do political analysis before. That's one of my like 10,000 jobs that I've had. I actually got paid. I could, in one phone call, if I really get sick of YouTube and for some crazy reason, just say, I need to chill out a while, maybe work for somebody else and still make a good amount of money, I could probably work for this political strategy firm. I can do political analysis and stuff. But I know some people just think I'm just some old dude who's just a step above Pookie just driving a car. No, I'm complicated. But the thing I wanted to get out with this podcast is always look below the surface. No, I don't care what it is. I don't care what you see. If you're looking at anything you're looking at in the political arena, for example, since I used to do that, right? You see the tax cuts. You see like somebody trying to get out of some type of tariff, or you see anything political. I don't care what it is. Look below the surface. Look behind the curtain. Read the footnotes. If you get a senator or a congressman, well, usually a congressman, someone in the House who sponsors a bill. If you really want to know the genesis of that bill, don't look at what his or her constituents want. Look at the lobbyists. And if you can, that's hard to do. But try to ask yourself, okay, they sponsored a bill and it affects this industry. All right, so who stands to benefit from this happening? Who stands to benefit from this industry? Okay, what's going on here? What's the deep surface thing? You got to look behind it because it's not obvious. A lot of times when we see stuff in the news, we see the surface of it, or we see the end product. We don't understand what's happening behind closed doors. You know, I used to work in DC. There's something always going on behind closed doors that you don't see, right? You know, there's always something else, right? I give you an example. I remember, when I was doing that political analysis, there was something having to do with there was something to do with this political prisoner, right? And you know, there was a big protest at the Department of Justice, right? And you know, everybody's protesting, thinking they're getting something done, and you know, some DOJ officials met with a few of the protesters, right? So, you know, they went in, but I knew from, once again, from experience, also from working at DOJ, I was like, there ain't nothing going to happen. It's not like a political thing, because it was a major thing, but it wasn't. And just understanding below the surface, it was just like, okay, who would benefit from this happening or not happening, everything like that. So I said, you know what, nothing's going to get done. All right? And that was just on a political thing. If you look at anything, I'm going to tell you what, here's a general rule. Let me give you a quick lesson in like any type of analysis. Follow the money. Who benefits from it? All right? For example, we've had the technology for really powerful electric cars for years. We talking years. In fact, and I know some of this could go on my Deep Thought channel, but you know, I thought I'd share this here. In fact, most technology that you see out now is already old. If it comes out new, like they coming out with all this virtual reality stuff, right? And this big thing, everybody getting these goggles and everything. They probably had this in the 80s or at least the 90s already. So, you know, you got to say, okay, what's the money? What's all of this? Especially most of the stuff come out as military applications, right? So it's just like, okay, who got a contract to develop it? Who's greasing who? Things of that nature. The bottom line is always look below the surface. You know, like, okay, we talk about relationships. Let me get with that. Now, we have a lot of animosity between black men and black women, right? But, and you know, there's always going to be some conflict between sexes. That's as old as human history, because both sides you're going to have conflict or some conflict when you have two different agendas. Men want what they want, women want what they want. But if you look in the black community, when did a lot of this really get the popping? And it really went back to the 70s. I know some people will say, well, we had some stuff in the 60s or something like, nah, it really got the popping in the 70s. Because understand, that's when black feminism especially started to explode. But then what had happened? Blacks had managed to get, you know, at least the illusion of equality. You know, integration was going. And plus there was another movement in the black community. If you remember the black arts and, you know, people had the bushes and everything, that was a threat to the economic order. That was a big threat to the economic order. You know, you had black men and black women, united. Let's put it like this, if there wasn't something to kind of split the two apart, we would probably have different conversations nowadays. So what happened? All of a sudden, you had Gloria Steinem, who had been outed as a CIA asset, you know, getting black women, you know, getting black women to write books and all of that. All of a sudden, they popping up more. You splitting the two. All right. So you keeping two groups at odds with each other. Then that coming together and really building some real power. There's always a surface there. Like, and who is that against? Is it against the government, or is it against the corporate elite? Because actually, just feminism, period, and splitting people apart, people make a lot of money. People make a lot of money. So instead of like getting money from one household, you're getting it from two. Think about it. And especially since women tend to be bigger consumers. Boom. Think on that. But yeah, I'm going into some deep thought stuff. But the whole thing is anything. And this is especially for men. Don't look at something and think, oh, that's it. You got to say, okay, what else is going on? What else is happening? You know, even with Trump, even with people who think got issues with Trump, right? There's something deeper there. Trust me, there's something deeper. Some things I ain't going since a brother kind of like his life, I probably won't discuss publicly, but there's always something deeper. And it's deeper than some reassertion of white supremacy or something like that. There's always something. There's no accidents. So always dig deep, scratch, read the footnotes. Ask yourself, okay, who's benefiting from whatever situation's going on in the community, the black community, whatever. There's always something. A lot of it is sinister. I'll say it like this. Some is sinister, some is just money. Very rarely is it just something that just happened naturally. You have very powerful people in the right position who social engineer a lot. So always, anybody who think, especially at that level of power, when you have that much power and influence, you can make a lot of stuff happen. So always, even in a local neighborhood, there's always something. Always look below the surface. Always analyze. Always question. It's like, all right, who benefit from that? Sit back. Hell, if you had a family reunion, there's some drama in the family. Just sit back a bit and just watch who's being quiet through it all, and just quiet and watching, even on that level. So anyway, right? That's all I got for today. Just think on it, seriously. Like I said, usually I would put something like this on my Deep Thought channel, but I got a lot of intellectual men and women following me, some thinkers, and I want y'all to really think about this. All right? Always go below the surface. Anyway, peace and blessings.